Live from the Mutant booth at the 2015 Arnold Classic. Big Ron Parlow here. My special guest for the first episode of Day 2, Scott Welch, publisher of Muscle Insider magazine. Very good friend of Mutant, very good friend of the show, very good friend of me. How's it going, man?
I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me on your show, Ron, and the Mutant Nation out there. It's just a fantastic opportunity. 2015 Arnold Classic. How many Arnolds have you been to, Ron?
Well, this is only my 4th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know, I've got like 13 Olympias, but this is only my 4th Arnold. You know, it's a lot farther from out west, so, you know, it's I didn't start making the trip until I started coming with Mutant.
That's awesome.
You know, so, but it's always a lot of fun, and I always tell people this feels like a much busier show because it's earlier in the year, so everyone's like working hard, launching products, and you know, no one really launches anything at the end of the year. You know,
That's
it's
right.
like, and everyone's also too. Everyone's training really hard. A lot of guys are dieting. A lot of guys are trying to get to the gym early. It's just a hectic weekend. Whereas the Olympia is kind of a year-end party for pretty much everyone except for the guys that were in the show.
That's right.
You know? And there are a handful of guys doing the actual USA, the NPC Nationals in November. They're the only guys that are not, you know, eating out and just kind of taking it easy. So the Arnold has a very busy feel. You know, there's a lot to do. It's the type of thing where you look at your schedule and you're like, whoa, you know.
That's right. That's crazy.
So speaking of Muscle Insider magazine, we got to say hi to our Mutant brother Johnny Dow. Cover. This is a previous issue, right?
Yes, that's right. This was on in stores up to about a week ago.
Yeah, so this is Johnny. We wanted to make sure we, you know, showed everybody how handsome. He looks like he's 19 years old on the cover. Look at that. Hey, but he's really a ragged 23.
Don't forget the full story on the man.
Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful, sexy Johnny Doll.
And if you haven't seen his series, The Islander, you got to check it out. Very well done. Tells a really good story. So you can go on Mutant YouTube channel, official Mutant TV, and check out The Islander as well. So congrats, Johnny. He will be at Body Power. If you guys want to see him at Body Power, he'll be with me, Johnny Jackson, and Manuel Romero at Birmingham, UK. You'll be there as well.
I hope to be, absolutely.
Hey, so what's new? We got a new issue now.
New issue is the Arnold issue.
Of course. Like every other year at the Arnold, we have the Arnold issue.
That's what you have to do when it's Arnold. He represents the pinnacle of our sport, so every year we have to do tribute to Arnold himself. We actually saw him this morning at the gym over at Metro Fitness downtown Columbus.
Yeah, we were standing outside waiting for our Uber when he pulled up, yeah.
That's right, and my good friend, Muscle Insider columnist Mark Gilbert, got to shake the man's hand. That was great.
He came by the booth yesterday, and it was really a surprise because we were told that he was going to come by on Saturday. So we weren't expecting him. And then last year when he came by the booth, you know, we were told it was going to be very fast. He was just going to walk up, take a picture, and walk away. Yeah. So we weren't expecting him to really stop. And he walked right up, shook my hand, told me, let's see the arms. So I hit a pose, and it was really cramped in there. And he goes, oh, let's see it again. So I hit another pose, and then he asked Manuel to hit a few poses, and then he said, very good, now let's take a picture. And then we all took a photo. I told him I read his book, and he's like, what'd you think? And it was great. And so it was a much more interactive experience than last year. He seemed very relaxed. He was having a good time. And then this morning he was at the gym, you know?
That's
so,
right.
It was definitely cool. It's been a great Arnold so far.
That's right.
And if you want to check out one of the things about Muscle Insider is that I write for the magazine, so I have a little tiny column stuffed somewhere in the back by the mail orders. Isn't it down there?
Our graphic designer is going to have to get a chokehold from a mutant chokehold. Start moving that thing up. Will McEwen, you got to move that thing up for Big Ron.
Yeah.
You have some big problems otherwise.
No more page 118.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. So there's Bigger and Badder, Big Ron Parlow. That's my article on training your chest. And then there's a Mutant ad with Trevor Coote, one of our brothers on the other side. So you take really good care of us at Muscle Insider, Scott. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now we're here to talk about, you have an interesting connection with the Arnold fans.
That's right. I mean, we've got, as anybody, we're really big fans of Arnold, but it turns out that he's actually got a fans club. And we, on this show, are going to have a talk with the actual Arnold's Fans Club are actually going to come onto the show here, some of the members of that. So that's really exciting.
That'll be great. It'd be great to have them on. Now, how did you get connected with them?
Well, last year we contacted them because with doing our Arnold issue, we knew a lot about Arnold, but there's no way we would know nearly as much as the people over at the ARNOLD'sFansClub.com. So we reached out to them, and they provided some content for us. And then we asked them, hey, you know what? We're going to come to the Arnold. We're going to be on your show. And why not come on over here and explain to the fans out there, the mutants, more about Arnold than they probably could have ever hoped to know.
Yeah. And one of the guys actually contributed an article to this issue.
That's right. We have a few articles in here from Randy Jennings, the president, and he gets in here in terms of Arnold and the movies that he has coming out with Maggie and Terminator 5, Genesis, I believe it's called.
Yep.
And hopefully the sequel or prequel. Well, no, it's the Conan one.
Oh, yeah. There is another Conan coming out.
Yeah, so they'll touch on that. So it was really great, and some of the different products that Arnold's been involved with. But it's just such a pleasure to have people who have way more expertise than I do on Arnold, kind of helping to make us all that much better.
Yeah, that'll be great to have them on. Thanks for bringing them by too. It'll make for an interesting interview. Now, what's the future of Muscle Insider now? What's that big coming up your way?
Well, what happened now, we just got picked up by the largest magazine distributor in North America, so they're actually going to put the magazine next week in all chapters and Indigo stores in Canada, so that's a big move for us. So you'll be able to get your Muscle Insider through the Vitamin Health channel that you're used to, but you'll also be able to get it at chapters in Indigo in any city across the country. And it's now on the iPad. If you go into your iTunes, you can buy it on your iPad. For those people around the world, the different mutants that we met in Cologne, Body Power, all the mutant nation around the world will be able to finally read Muscle Insider on the tablet. So those are the two big moves. It's been really exciting for us.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, not only, as a fan of the magazine, but as someone who contributes to writing in it, I mean, it's always great when you know that more people are going to be exposed to what you're doing.
That's right.
And so that's exciting, man. It's like, I feel like I got in on the kind of the ground floor of something that's really getting bigger, you know what I mean?
And we're the same way with Mutant. I mean, Mutant has just taken off, and the fact that we can be here live streaming, we feel privileged that we're getting in on this. We're not on the ground level. You guys are not on the ground level.
I wasn't either.
But we're glad that we're going to hang on to your ankle, hopefully, as I bite it, trying to kind of rise to the top.
That's how success is in a lot of industries. It's working together. You don't get anywhere all by yourself.
That's right.
You got to have a bunch of different relationships. Like we also have a great one with Gas Better Bodies, and now one with Muscle Insider, and we have a lot of other great relationships that we're developing with other companies as well for cross branding and that sort of thing. So, as a magazine publisher, that must be one of the keys.
Yeah, it's all about relationships. I mean, any bodybuilder will tell you, you cannot get to where you want to get all by yourself. You need the right training, you need the right nutrition, you need the right supplementation. And speaking of supplementation, I don't want to do a subtle plug here, but that Mutant Pro 100, I actually have the birthday cake one in my bathroom, and I'm mixing it up. 4 in the morning, get up. I just can't believe how delicious that is, and I think you guys are really going to make fans happy to finally be able to cheat and enjoy themselves their delicious protein.
Yeah, no, it is good. They worked really hard on the flavors. They wanted to blow everything else out of the water, and not only are the flavors different, but we just did a photo shoot for the new ads that are going to be debuting in Muscle Insider magazine. Right. And when you guys see these ads that we did, you're going to laugh your ass off because they're nothing like anybody's ever done. They're nothing like any other bodybuilding company's ever done. We're making fun of ourselves at the next level. And it's, every single ad sort of kind of has always gone in a similar direction, hardcore, showing off the physique, that sort of thing. And these ads go completely the opposite direction.
That's right.
But they really show people another side to all the mutants. So Johnny Jackson, Trevor Coote, Manuel, Gabe, and I were all fortunate enough to be in on that particular shoot. And there's going to be some ads coming in Muscle Insider that you're not going to want to miss. And we also have a great commercial for the Pro 100 that we're going to roll. And it's a taste test that we did. It went really well, and we managed to capture a lot of good reactions from people. So we're going to roll a new commercial for you guys, and when we come back, we're going to have Ryan Gillin from ARNOLDFans.com join us, and he's going to sit right here, and you're going to move over Tonight Show style.
That's right.
And we're going to do it up. Hey, thanks, guys. We'll be back right after this break. Big Ron Partlow here, and we're doing a taste test. We've got the new Mutant Pro 100. We've got one of our leading competitors. We're pretty confident that we're going to dominate this one. Keep them on the right sides, water in between.
Yeah.
So take your time, smell it, taste it. We've got more if you need more. So we got a definite decision?
Definite decision.
That's a Mutant Pro 100.
The milk chocolate flavor definitely drew me over to the Mutant Pro 100.
Okay. This is the Pro 100. I had the competitor marked.
The other one pretty much seemed almost flavorless in comparison. Yeah, it was really good. It tasted, yeah, pretty much just like a birthday cake.
This one.
There you go. I heard it goes straight to your glutes and quads.
There we go.
So you picked the Pro 100.
I like the creamy texture of it.
That's the new Mutant Pro 100.
It was good. It was very flavorful and very quick.
That's the Mutant Pro 100.
That's definitely better. Like, it tasted a lot more natural, and I could tell right away.
And it went very well. We had 9 out of 10 people on average pick the Pro 100. As for the other people at 1 out of 10, I mean, you know, some people still like Nickelback. As for that 1 out of 10, I mean, you know, some people like their flavor to be completely unrecognizable from 10 other brands. As for that 1 out of 10, I mean, there are people out there that like the taste of dirt. And as for those 1 out of 10, I mean, not everybody really lifts. As for that 1 out of 10, I mean, somebody's going to see the Twilight movies. We're back from the booth live. We got Ryan Gillen from the ARNOLDFans.com. Very good to have you on the show, my friend.
Thanks, good to be here.
Yeah. Now, how many Arnolds have you been to as a fan of Arnold?
I've been to quite a few. I think somewhere around 8 now.
Okay, okay. How long have you been involved with ARNOLDFans.com?
Well, I've been involved directly for probably about 8 years now. But I was kind of always, I was always like, you know, it was one of the sites I would go to regularly and to find out news about Arnold, and then eventually became friends with Randy, who runs it, and he asked
Jennings,
me to,
right?
Randy Jennings, yeah. And he kept bugging me to help out, you know, officially join the staff. I'd be like, oh, because I had my own site too that I was doing for a while, so we were kind of competing in a way.
Right, right.
But then I figured, I've kind of let my site go a little bit, so we'll join forces and become even huger, and you know,
even more powerful.
Yes,
Arnold
yes,
fan
we
club.
get bumped up.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
are the #1 fan site for Arnold.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
And Arnold has actually recognized your fan site as the #1 fan site. Is that correct?
Right. He's given us several recognitions on his site, Schwarzenegger.com. They had, you know, fan site of the month, and then, you know, different things, and he's written letters to us.
Oh, really?
On, you know, official governor stationery and stuff when he was governor, and you know, when I think we had an anniversary, you know, at one of the years, and he wrote a nice letter about it. So yeah, he's really good to us.
That's cool. Now I got to ask you about the jacket.
Yep.
You know, you must have a whole collection of jackets, and you showed up with the Last Action Hero jacket on.
Yeah.
What's the story? Like, did you get that from the movie set, or did you get it as a collector's item?
This was an eBay acquirement.
Okay.
I was really fortunate to find it though, because it's not one of the more common, you know, jackets you see.
Exactly.
It was made for like the crew and people of the movie.
Yeah.
And it was made by Tony Novak, who of course makes the great jackets at the Classic here every year.
Yeah. And another thing, I know this for a fact. Tony Novak is Big Tony.
Right.
That he mentions at the beginning of Pumping Iron.
Mm-hmm.
When he walks
Big
into
Tony.
Gold's gym, there's a guy sitting behind the counter, and he said, "Big Tony," and he signs up. And he's been friends with Tony ever since those days.
Right.
And Tony makes the jackets for the Arnold Classic and the movies, right?
Right. He did Arnold's some of his leather jackets from the like T3 and different movies.
Okay.
And you know, Tony he passed away a couple years ago.
Oh,
but
really?
His family still runs the business, and
Oh,
they keep
wow.
doing it. Yeah.
Okay, that's really, really interesting story. Yeah, it's Arnold's famous for doing that, though, isn't he? People that were behind him years and years ago, he's pretty loyal to those, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, tell us about the actual fan club. You guys have an amazing collection of items and posters and toys and crazy stuff that's never been even seen by most people.
Right.
Why don't you give us an idea of like what actually consists of the collection?
Well, Randy definitely has the bulk of the collection of like he is hardcore like a collector, and his puts mine to shame. But I've got a decent amount too. So there's like the obvious stuff like posters, the every version of the movies and all the books Arnold has done. And then special promotional items from each movie he made. Like
cups from fast food restaurants that no one has and rare stuff like that.
Yep, cups and things like, a good one is, the Turbo Man doll from Jingle All the Way. They did a run of those. I think they sold them at Walmart or someplace.
Oh, I didn't know they actually made one. That's funny.
But they didn't do it like, it was just a limited run when the movie came out, and they never made any more. So ever since then, those have been a hot eBay item, going for $300 or more on eBay. And so there's a Turbo Man. I have a Turbo Man car too, which is a little one like spins around, and the Turbo Man's inside it, and it was like a gas station promotional thing. And
right. There's also a Commando doll, isn't there?
There's some Commando dolls and figures and lunch boxes and things like that. A couple of things, and there's some interesting T-shirts too that sometimes aren't official, but people make them and send them or sell them. And there's a good Commando one that shows each of the villains that Arnold kills through the movie, and how they die, but beneath them, and that's a fun one.
Like Sully. Sully's on there.
Sully, yeah, he's dead tired.
Yeah.
Or I let him go.
Yeah. All those guys.
Let off some steam. So
now, as a fan of Arnold, are you a little more aware of the upcoming stuff before most people? Like when Terminator 5 was in the works, did you have like a line into that information before most people know?
Yeah. We try to really use all the sources we have and get the information as soon as possible. I think T5 wasn't quite official. Like Arnold hadn't said anything until last year when I was at the Classic and asked him during a Q&A about his involvement, and he confirmed it and talked about the script and everything. So sometimes we get exclusives like that.
So you got to kind of break the news on that one.
Right. That's real fun when that happens. But otherwise, we just try to see what's on the web and if we can find information from studio people we know and things like that.
Now, there's a lot of people out there that collect a lot of stuff. They're big fans. But you actually traveled to Graz, Austria, where he was born and raised.
Right, yeah.
Now tell us about that trip. When did you go?
I went, it was probably like 10 years ago now. It was actually part of, my wife and I took a trip to Europe for our anniversary. And so we were doing Italy, mainly.
Right.
And so, planning it out, and I'm like, Austria is kind of close to Itily. I think we should go.
Europe's like that, though. Everything's close to everything.
Yeah. So I made the itinerary with a detour to go to Arnold's hometown in near Graz, Austria. So we went and drove there, and it's basically like a time capsule. It hasn't really changed hardly any. It's this little village, mostly farmland and open areas, and you can see Arnold's house that he grew up in. And at the time, it was closed off. It was just owned by someone. But now they have a whole museum set up there.
In the actual house?
In his house, his childhood house. So with lots of cool, artifacts from, his weights that he used back then. And and cool stuff like that. So I do intend to go back there.
Right, yeah, that would be a great trip, especially now that there's an actual museum set up.
Right, yeah.
Now, tell people, if they're really big Arnold fans, how can they contact the site? You know, can they join a fan club? How exactly does it work?
It's pretty simple. It's just thearnoldfans.com. That's our main site. I worked on it for a while. I'm doing the web stuff, and we redesigned it a couple years ago, so it looks pretty nice. And then, so you can catch all the news stories we post there. We also have a Twitter account, just the Arnold Fans on Twitter, the Arnold Fans on Facebook, that we often will post as soon as we find out information. We'll post it on Facebook first, and then while we put a story together, and that'll go up later on the site. And then a new thing that we started a few months ago is we're doing a podcast now too. I'm hosting it with Brandon Crum, who also runs the site with me, and Randy. And we just have fun, talking, do a weekly show and talk about the latest Arnold news. Joke around with stuff. We will play interviews that we do with different Arnold co-stars and friends of Arnold, or and occasionally Arnold himself, which is nice.
Oh wow!
So we do some fun stuff. We do some trivia and stuff. We'll try to stump each other on Arnold quotes, like give a quote and guess the movie it's from. So we've done that a couple times, and that's a lot of fun. It's called Arnold Radio News is the podcast, and we link to it on our website, or you can find it in iTunes at Arnold Radio News if you search for it.
Well, I'm definitely going to follow you guys on Twitter so I can keep up with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And thanks for dropping by the show. I mean, what better to have as a guest on the show at the Arnold than one of the guys from the official Arnold fan club, We're really happy to have you on. Yeah. Ryan Gillen from ArnoldFans.com. Thank you, Scott Welch.
Thank you for having
us. From Muscle Insider. It's been a great episode. We'll be back with more. We got some great guests on this afternoon, live from the Mutant booth at the 2015 Arnold Classic. I'm Big Ron. We're out.